Hello, how you doing? We're going to do two back-to-back episodes just today because we're so far behind. But we're going into another chapter. So instead of I, the imaginator, we're going to go into the title, the dreamaker. Okay. So we left off. Well, I was pretty much at the trailer by myself until Mom and Dad got their divorce settled. Of course, Mom moved to Nashville, and me and the girls wanted to stay at Bryant, so we had to stay with Dad, and so we can stay in the Bryant School District. And of course, we have the dismantling of the Happy Acre Gang, and so we're moving on to bigger, better things now. Of course, the Imaginator was an introduction, pretty much, of how and why I started writing poetry. Now, the next chapter, we can call this Chapter 2, because that was Chapter 1, the 6 episodes there. This is Chapter 2, or Part 2. And it's going to delve further into the concept of expanding my imagination. And of course, also want to meet some other people, so to speak. And one of them, of course, is my cousin Greg and Marcia, which we discussed earlier. I spent a lot of time with them. We went on a lot of camping trips together. Grandpa and Grandpa loved to go camping, and their favorite fishing buddies, their favorite camping buddies, both Uncle Poncho and Aunt Debbie. So we spent a lot of time with Aunt Catherine, and then a place called Cox Creek down by Leola, Arkansas. So we spent a lot of time together. And of course, me and Greg and Marcia, we hung out a lot. And then Sherry became part of that group. We hang out with her. Her and Marcia became friends, and of course, me and Greg became more than friends. We became more like brothers. It became like the brother I didn't have. So we've done a lot of fishing. Done a lot of camping, mainly in Catherine. We went played a lot of horseshoes in Lake Catherine. Yeah, the terrain was more suitable for horseshoes over there. Cox Creek, the terrain was just not suitable.
You need to be careful playing horseshoes.
For horseshoes, but
it was in the knee before?
Yeah, it was horseshoes. You be careful playing horseshoes. But in Cox Creek, the areas were too kind of confined, too close together. Catherine are more spread out as far as the camping areas go, so it's easier to play horseshoes there. And of course, also Lake Catherine, me and Greg and Marcia would go on some of the little trails. There's about 3 trails out there. There's a swimming hole, swimming area. And then Cox Creek, now the reason it's Cox Creek is because of the creek that leads into. I think it was more like a lake. That's what it was. It wasn't a Cox. It wasn't a creek. It was like a big lake. And we'd troll fish in there, and we'd catch a lot of crappie. We did a lot of crappie fishing, jig fishing, and of course there wasn't a whole lot of trails, but there were some there were some little areas where we can walk out into the woods, walk down by the creeks. That's actually the creek of Cox Creek. It actually leads into the lake. And we spent a lot of time doing that. Of course, this was right in the 80s. I read into the 80s. Of course, the 60s was peacetime because of the Vietnam War. Then you had the 70s, which is called the Sexual Revolution. Everybody's all about, doing the deed, pretty much. Then the 80s came around. It was called the Amazing 80s. And the reason it's called the Amazing 80s because everybody seemed to be at peace. Everybody seemed to be happy. It was the end of the Cold War. President Reagan ended the Cold War there. Of course, at the 1980, the U.S. hockey team beat Russia for the first time in a long time. I think it was the first time ever they beat them. I think that's the first time they beat them ever. They don't think they ever beat them in hockey until 1980 Olympics, and they won the gold medal off of that. Music was awesome. I mean, the music was incredible in the 80s. If you don't like 80s music, there's something wrong with you. That's all I got to say about that one.
The 80s music was...
the 80s had
They had fun.
Yeah, they had fun. Of course, you also had Tragedy, the Space Shuttle Challenger. It was supposed to be the first teacher to go up into space, and
it blew up.
And it blew up and killed all seven astronauts on board, including the teacher. Killed them all.
Sad.
Which was pretty sad, but pretty much that's about the only. Of course, there was Gaddafi in Libya. He was giving the United States a hard time, and they made a song about him. They made fun of him because he tried to take on a U.S. warship with a little tiny ass fishing boat.
Yeah, that didn't go well. Did it?
It didn't go well. They tried to hit the fishing boat, put some dents in our put a couple of dents in our ships, and we just the fishing boat was turned into splinters. That's all I got to say about that one. Relatively a time of peace, you know. It was a good time to be American, and one of my next poems is about that time period. How it was nice you was proud to be an American.
When the presidents actually served the people.
Yeah, the president actually served the people. Here lately,
themselves.
we don't have that right now. We don't have that right now. But
we will eventually, hopefully.
But my next poem is called "I'm an American," because, like I said, the '80s makes you be proud to be an Very really racial tension. That was except the I forgot the guy's name, Rodney something, in L.A. caused the L.A. riots for a few months because some police officers decided to be stupid, and
they had a power trip.
And of course, the guy didn't make himself out to be a saint either, because soon after the riots started and soon they cleared him out, he got arrested again for DUI. So it's
you want to be a good person. Be a good person.
You want someone to stand up for you, but you want to turn around and get arrested for the same thing you got in trouble for the first place. Straighten up, dude. I mean, seriously, you had an entire city, an entire nation go to Riot City over you, and you turn around and get arrested not once but twice more for being drunk and disorderly. I mean, for goodness sakes. But yeah, it makes some sense out of it. And other than that, race wasn't really an issue back in the 80s. Other than that particular incident where it got out of hand, because police officers overstepped their authority. And the guy was drunk and disorderly, but they pushed it a little too hard. There's a lot of people killed in that LA riots too. Those riots, a lot of people were killed, needlessly killed. Because, like I said, a few weeks later, he got arrested for the same damn thing. It made no sense. But that's the way things are. Other than in the space shuttle, about the only two things that went wrong in the 80s: the space shuttle and the LA riots. Everything else was relatively hunky dory. It was a nice time. It was, like I said, it was fun to be an American. And that's what this next poem is all about how nice it was to be an American, because that, like I said, that decade was just, I don't think there's been a decade since that's been like that. And I had the opportunity to live through it. So this is that poem, I Am an American. In America, there are many aspects. For instance, our famed colors: the red, the white, and the blue. There's freedom in every state and territory, bravery amongst the soldiers in the military, religious freedom and freedom of speech. In America, you don't have to be a slave. You don't have to live in sorrow and pain. The real meaning of America has been forgotten. America is a special and of great expectations. Me, I'm an American, and I'll stay this way. I'll die before I let my freedom go. Short, simple, and to the point. Nothing big deal there. And, of course, I'm a little bit older. I'm getting 16. Got my driver's license. I'm able to borrow my dad's vehicle, borrow my grandma's vehicle, go here and there. And since having my vehicle, I was able to go hang out with Greg, and he was able to come hang out with me. And we go do stuff. We go play putt-putt golf, go to the movies, go around just just hanging out by the lakes, by the creeks. We also would gather up some money around the 4th of July and start putting fireworks displays on for Grandma. And I'm going to tell you a funny story that came out of that fireworks display we put for Grandma. And she enjoyed it, and she enjoyed the heck out of it. And we get out there, her and Grandpa come on the front porch there. Grandpa will be up there with his cool-ass self, nonchalant, chill, sit back, relax, atmosphere. Grandma will be out there on the she can get a bird's eye view of it. Me and Greg, and he has his little truck. We drop the tailgate down, put the fireworks on there, and shoot the bottle rockets off. And on this particular incident, Marcia was going to join us. She was there, and she was going to watch the fireworks display or help put one on for us. And I had a pair of white shorts on. Yeah, that was a bad idea. Because we were prepping for the display, okay? We were prepping for the show. And on this particular show, we had 2 bottles sitting on the tailgate. And Greg was a big dude. He was bigger than I am. And we lit our bottle rockets off. And this big old carcass, when he went to turn to walk away, his butt hit the chair, hit the truck, and the truck shook and knocked my bottle over. His bottle rocket shot in the sky.
Yours went directly towards the pride.
Mine kind of aimed toward my gonads.
It went right to the pride and joy.
Yep, it hit my family jewels, right dead center. And then it bounced off my jewels and went down between my feet and popped. So I got hit in the nuts with the bottle rocket. And of course, Marcia and Greg began to roll on the floor, laughing so hard that they almost peed their pants. And Grandma, I was supposed to be her favorite. I was her favorite grandkid. And she almost fell. She almost had a heart attack laughing so hard that day. I mean, sitting here in pain, just got shot in the nuts with a bottle rocket, and they're rolling on the floor. And my grandmother, whom I love so much, is laughing. Even Grandpa. He didn't laugh at me. He never laughed a whole lot. He just kind of chuckled. But he smirked. Kind of thought it was funny. And I had to go inside to the bathroom and make sure everything was okay down there. One side was regular size, the other side was about that big around. Well, that's where the bottle rocket popped off of. Of course, like I said, I had a pair of white shorts on. So I had a black spot in my crotch area. So I cleaned it off as much as I could, but you can't get rid of the black spot. It's there. Even when I washed it a few times, it's still there. It ruined my white shorts. And I could not wear them no more. I went outside, which was going to try to get the show going, to go on with the show. And every time they look at me, they couldn't help themselves but look down at my shorts and see that black spot there. And I almost had to put the show on myself. because they couldn't stop looking at my black spot and laughing their asses off. I'm like, guys, I got shot in the nuts with a bottle rocket. That hurts. I know. And they're laughing the whole time. They're saying, I know. But anyway, we put out the display. Eventually, they calmed down a little bit, stopped laughing so much.
I would have laughed too.
Yeah, I know you would have. You wouldn't have stopped laughing. You just kept laughing. You'd have laughed.
I would have laughed so many jokes.
You would laugh, yeah, cracked jokes and laughed all night. That's about as bad as me dropping my Twinkie one day. Yeah, that's another funny story involving Greg and Marcia and Grandma and all them. I had a Twinkie, and we were all out in the yard. We used to make up little storylines for little skits we made. And I had a Twinkie. And I got down to the last bite of my precious Twinkie. I'd waited all day for that damn Twinkie. All day I waited for that Twinkie. And I went to go do something, and I dropped the last bite of my Twinkie on the ground. I got so mad for dropping my Twinkie on the ground that I kicked the rest of that Twinkie and scattered it all over the grass. And of course, they started laughing again. They couldn't help but laughing at me. It was the funniest thing in the world. Monroe dropped his Twinkie. Monroe dropped his Twinkie. It became a slogan every time we got together. And I got a Twinkie or a gum. I dropped my gum one time. Monroe dropped his gum. I was the scapegoat for humor, for comic relief. And they knew it. They enjoyed it. It was funny. Of course, I saw Greg. Yeah, he had some issues too. One time we were all little babies, and they had some presents under the tree. And so Greg woke all the other kids up. Says, open the presents, let's see what they got. And the kids were like, nah, we might get in trouble. No, come on. You talk to everybody in the house, all except me. Everybody else opened the presents up, except me. I did. I was still asleep. They had me buried under the gift wraps.
So you were a Christmas present.
That was a Christmas present. That was buried. They said, where's Monroe at? Oh, there he is right there. He's still sleeping. But everybody else got in trouble. I had no idea what happened. I never woke up. I woke up and all the presents had been rewrapped and put on the tree. It was like nothing ever happened. But all the other kids got in trouble. Yeah. And also, Uncle Pancho got him a big old box one time for a present. He thought it was something special. So, this just gave me a chance to laugh at him a little bit. Laughing at me for getting shot in the nuts with a bottle rocket and dropping my Twinkie. This is my chance to laugh at him a little bit. Come to find out, he got this big box. And he thought it was something. He thought it was a weight machine or something. And Pancho said, no, that's a box of switches we got for you. And Greg goes, nah, no it ain't. What is in here?
Box of switches. And
when Christmas Eve comes around, this is a family tradition that we choose one present to open before we go to bed at night. And then we open the rest of them the following morning. So, come Christmas Eve, they was at their house, and Greg chose that big old box. They opened it up, and lo and behold, it was indeed a box of switches.
But he didn't find that too funny.
No, he didn't. He was pissed off. Uncle Pancho thought it was hilarious. And Debbie thought it was hilarious. Marcia, his sister, thought it was hilarious. And they told everybody. They told everybody about it. So we gave him a hard time. He spent the entire day on Christmas all pissed off and bent out of shape. He was mad.
About a box of switches.
Because he thought it was something big. It was a big old box too. It was a huge box. And he got some nice things that day for Christmas. He got some nice presents. But it was just the whole day. Just pouting, because it was a box of switches. But no, we had some fun. We used to set up. We used to have a little canopy in the camp by the camper that kind of kept us protected from the weather, and we would get up under that canopy when it would storm at night and thunder and lightning. We're kids. We're still young teenage bumpkins, and I was still young at heart anyway. You know, I didn't have no kids, and I hadn't really had no friends, and it was the closest thing to a real true friend I ever had. And we get out there with sticks and stuff, and like we were shooting bad guys, invading, like the Normandy invasion. We was being invaded, and we were shooting ships out of the water and everything. And we're waiting for the lightning to hit, thunder clap, and that was our missile hitting the ships and sinking the boats and stuff. Went on for hours like this for the entire hour.
That sounds like fun.
It was.
I remember I used to go. I used to snipe my friends with Nerf guns from the top of trees. Like we literally build like little passageways up the trees and like little crow's nest and stuff.
Mm-hmm. That's how I got my nickname. I pissed Amy off one time, my sister. I got even with her. Because it was always getting me in trouble. Not Amy was, but Sherry would always get me in trouble. But Amy, she was just available.
She was a peon.
She was a peon. She was available that day, so I pissed her off. And I didn't want to fight, so I climbed the tree. And I was able to get all the way up to the top of the tree where the branches were that big. No bigger than that. A little small. When you just kind of sway back and forth in the tree, I was able to get all the way up to the top of that thing. And Amy could get about halfway, and she couldn't get up any further. And so she just looked at me and said, "Get down here, you darn monkey." I said, not till you calm your ass down. I'll be down when you calm down, I'll come back down. So I'll be down there waiting for you. I said, well,
I'll be up here waiting for you.
I'll be up here then. So that's how I got my nickname, Monkey. They call me Uncle Monkey. That's how I get my nickname. Because I was out time during the tree one time. Get down there, you darn monkey. But we had some more fun times. That's just to introduce that little hangout group. It was me, Amy, me, Marcia, Sherry, Greg. We'd go to the mall and stuff, hang out and do stuff together. I still have moments where, I'd get angry and pissed off. And because, when I went with them hanging out, I was by myself dealing with the crap I was having to deal with at home. That was my escape. Going to grandma's for the weekend and hanging out with my cousins and then doing stuff together. That was my escape. Other than writing poetry, of course. And of course, I would still write poems in anger, and that's what these next two poems are. Because, like I said before in one of my other earlier episodes, my nickname, other than Monkey, was Mean 16 for my 16th birthday. It got used against me, and it still kind of ticked me off.
Why was it used against you?
Mean 16. Instead of the Sweet 16, how girls usually call.
Yeah.
I'm a guy. I'm not Sweet 16. I'm a guy, okay? So we called it Mean 16. Because it rhymed. It had a good ring to it. Then, of course, they used it against me. So you really are Mean 16, you little punk. But, it is what it is.
That's when you prove the point.
I wanted to. But that's why I wrote. That's why I wrote these two poems here. Because even though I wanted to, I knew it wasn't a good idea. So I wrote a couple more poems out of anger here. One's I've Got Angry Eyes. That's the first one. And the next one is Psycho in a Cage. I think there's one more after that, but it's on down the line. So I got two back-to-back poems written out of anger, animosity. Eventually, the angry poems will dissipate, and you won't hear no more of those. but there's still a few more because I'm still going through my teenage years, still dealing with adversity, still dealing with a bunch of crap at home. That's not necessary. So they're getting forward in between, not like it was before my intro, where it was just like every poem was about anger. It's just every so often you'll hear one, and you're going to hear two back to back here and get them out of the way so we can go on past them. The first one's I've Got Angry Eyes, and here it is. Look closely now at the eyes, my eyes, the eyes of fear and despair. They are not as calm as they seem. Do you see the water steaming and bubbling about? See the jagged red lines as they twitch and jerk. See the pupils as they shake viciously. Look closer now, it's getting hotter. You can now see a bloody war, two sides opposing each other, getting ready to explode. Now they have exploded. I stand over a horrified soul. It looks up at me through blood-soaked eyes, eye glaring at him, fist clenched. I say to him in a stern voice, I've got angry eyes. I was waiting to explode. And of course, we'll go ahead and deal with the next one here. Get these two out of the way so we move on with our story. This one here is called Psycho in a Cage. It's about the how you're being angry, how you're being mad, and you're really pissed off, and you feel like you're being caged. You feel like a caged animal, right? That's what you feel like when you get mad sometimes. And when you feel like a caged animal, so you feel like you just want to just rip through the cage and just tear someone's heart out. That's basically what Psycho in a Cage is. It's this pent up anger that you're behind this cage. You bent up anger that you want to release, but you don't know how to release it without hurting someone. So you deal with it the best way you can. Well, here's Psycho in a Cage. His hands grip the steel post tightly. I glare at him from the other side. A lonely old coop in a lonely cell. With bloodshot eyes, he stares back at me. I lost control, he says. I killed someone. I didn't want to, but I did it. Continuing on, I would listen intently. I went crazy, looking over the bloody mess. I raised my knife, and then I heard them yell. He pauses for a bit, obviously shaking. I say to him in a sympathetic tone, doing what you did was not right. You have doomed yourself to pay the price. The price you are to pay is that of death. He looks at me with a strange look, but, he starts, but I'm already dead. Yeah. Is this guy a serial killer or what? No. No, that's just how angry I got sometimes. That's how mad I got. And
people suck. In this story, people.
Yeah,
suck.
it is. It's just, and also I found other ways to let go of my anger and animosity. It was to exercise. I don't look like I was athletical, but I was athletical at one point in time.
His legs were the size of trees.
Yeah, I used to ride my bike all over the place. I'd ride 50, 60 miles a day, and I looked freaky. I looked, my lower waist was just, my legs were huge. My upper body was small and skinny. I looked like a freak, and I have real strong legs. I could, at one point in time when I was a kid, I could leap over a picnic table. Not crossways, the entire length of the picnic table. You know how long a peanut table is?
Yeah.
It's about roughly 12 to 14 feet in length. I get about a 20-foot head start, a running start, and I would jump right before I got to the peanut table, and I would leap over the entire length of the peanut table, roughly 14 to 16 feet. If I tried that now, I probably would kill myself because I couldn't get my big carcass up off the ground. But yeah, I used to play basketball, street ball, basically. I got into some athletics in school. I played Little League baseball, junior high football, high school track and field, and basketball. I never a starter. I just didn't feel like sitting in study hall all the time. So I found a way to get out of study hall, and that was to be on the athletics program. I got to play every now and then. You know, I didn't just sit there and like a stump in the middle of a yard. I actually got to play because our teams were pretty good. Except the basketball team I played on. The basketball team I played on was at Biddenholm and Grove, and they sucked. There's no other word. There's no other way to say it. It was horrible. I think 3-23 was a record that year. My senior year, they went 3-23. My 10th, 11th grade, I was at Bryant running the track team. Bryant's track team was awesome. Bryant's baseball team was awesome. Bryant's basketball team at the time was good. The football team at the time, not so much. Now, they're a juggernaut. The last 4 or 5 years, they've been tops in the state. They got beat this time, though. They was going to try and go for 5 state titles, and they finally lost this one, just last football season. But they won 4 straight before that. They became pretty good. But when I was there back in the 80s, it was lucky to have a winning season. They stunk in football. But anyway, it was fun too. It was fun being on this program. I get to travel a lot.
Yeah.
Get to go to different schools and hang out and do stuff. I kind of enjoyed it. Even though I didn't get started, I still have fun. Well, yeah, I love to be. I love to do I love to exercise. And this next poem is about me exercising. I also have PE. My PE class, I was one of the strongest in my PE class. The third. I was third and strongest at the. Because I could leg press in junior high, 523 pounds. That's a lot to leg press for a junior high student.
How many pounds was it again?
523 pounds. I was leg pressing. The other guys got on there and tried to push that thing up and says, "Oh, I just can't do this." That's because I rode the bike all that. And I did a lot of jumping stuff. I jump over, back and forth across a rope, and a lot of jump rope. And I was real strong down below. I just wasn't very strong on my upper body.
I'm the same way at the moment.
Yeah.
I have strong legs.
So this next poem is it's sort of another one of my cheesy poems, but it's called "Shape Up." And it's kind of simple, silly, but it was just something to write. And this is Shape Up. I'm in the weight room, toning my muscles. I work out to the point that my joints ached. I go soak in a hot tub for about a half an hour. I relax the rest of the day. And the next day, the weight room again. I'm the strongest man in the... Oh, wait a minute. I'm not that strong. I got more work to do. It goes 260 up and lifted. A max, that's all. And only a start. And of course, I was on a athletical trip, so I wrote another poem about my bike rides. This one's called The Athletical One, and then we'll wrap this segment up. The Athletical One. Riding all day long, never slowing down, going past open fields of green and up and down assorted hillsides. The tall trees staring down on him. He just can't stop the pedaling. He can't stop for any period of time. He doesn't seem to know what tired means, and he doesn't seem to care. I hope you enjoyed this segment. Like I said, we're going to do back-to-back segments because we had to go through the holiday season here just recently. So we're going to do episode 7 here. Then I'm going to load it up. I'm going to come back and do episode 8. Of course, it's going to have a different name. It's going to be called the Dreamaker. That's going to be the next part. It's going to be part 2 of my story. Hope you enjoyed it as much as you did part 1. So with that said, have a good time, have a good day, enjoy your evening or your day, wherever you may be. See you later.
Have a nice day.